Welcome to the WRC podcast. I'm your host, Katrina Marie, and you're in the right place. Here at the Well-Rounded Counselor podcast, what you can expect is to learn, shift your thinking, and gain personal and professional growth. And if you have not yet done so, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another podcast episode. The conversation starts now. Hello. Welcome everybody to another episode of the WRC podcast. I'm your host, Katrina Marie, and I'm super excited to be bringing you a fresh new episode this week. For many of you who are new to my work, welcome. I hope you've been enjoying some of my previous episodes and getting familiar with the content that I put out there. And I'm super grateful that you've decided to tune in and listen to this particular podcast on helping you become a better, well-rounded counselor. No matter what kind of counseling you do, I believe that this podcast is going to help transform your best practices and help you level up as a professional. So thank you for joining me. And if you're new to what I do and some of the work, you can find some more information about me down below in the show notes. I do have a book, The Well-Rounded Counselor, Considerations for International College Counselors. It's a short book and has a small workbook inside, and you can again, find some wonderful tidbits in there to help you level up and become a better college counselor. And also, if you are looking for a course or a presentation to give to your students, I do have a course called Simplifying the College Application Process from A to Z. And I want to encourage you to look at these two resources because they can really benefit you and whoever you are working with. And last but certainly not least, I am offering email coaching. I get lots of direct messages constantly on LinkedIn. And if you're not following me on LinkedIn, please click on the link below so we can get in touch. But if you're looking for some more one-to-one professional mentoring, whether you are kind of new to the field or you are just looking for support or you're feeling stuck in your career and you're looking to make some changes, I would encourage you to reach out for one-on-one mentorship. It is email coaching only. I do have a bundle package where you can do resume and email coaching with me. So please get in touch and I can share more details with you. And I know it is helping people that I'm currently working with. So spots are kind of filling up fast. And if you're interested, I know the winter break is coming up. So this is an excellent time to check in with yourself, check in with how things are going, and then see how you can improve for the rest of the academic year. So if you're looking to do that, I'm going to leave everything below in the show notes. So today's episode, let's jump right into it. I want to talk about today counselor well-being tips during the college application process. A lot of times we are always talking about well-being tips for students and for parents, but where are the well-being tips for counselors during this time? I know that in my last episode, I said to you that I may not be as active on my podcast. And honestly, I miss my podcast. I love my podcast. I love this side of my creativity, and it is my outlet. And I was thinking a lot about this, and I was just like, I do have time. It's just, I don't have the emotional energy to invest in it because my energy is spent in a lot of other places. And I want to connect with other professionals. I know that this podcast is helping people. I get messages every single day about how they underestimate it and they realize how amazing this content is. And so I really, feel like this is something important that I have to be consistent on. And I know that over the next few weeks, I'm going to try and push out more weekly content for you guys. So apologies. But again, I wanted to talk on this topic because it is relevant to me right now about self-care, well-being during the college application process for you as a counselor. So this is, again, something that we talk about with families and students. And yes, that is important. But I think you as a helping agent, you need to be in a headspace that is right and solid to support other people. And again, we know this. Intellectually, we know this, but sometimes we don't always practice this. So I want to discuss strategies to prevent burnout and ensure that you're being, a very positive influence in other people's lives. So let's just jump straight into some of the tips I have. I have about 11 tips, 12 tips. Some of them can be combined, But let's just jump straight into it. The first one is setting realistic expectations. So we know that when a student comes to us and they say, Miss or Sir, whoever you are, here's my list of universities, and then all you see are reach schools, I feel like the alarm bells go off in our heads and like a big volcano kind of erupts. You know that emoji that has like the exploding head? I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. That is typically what happens on the inside for me. And I'm kind of like going into low key panic mode. Like, what the heck is this person doing? They clearly haven't researched. They just picked universities from the internet and God knows, or the parents gave them a list. And then you know how much work is going to be ahead of that student. And you know that you're going to be responsible for helping that student complete all that work. And usually it's in a short amount of time. So we don't want you to feel overwhelmed. So the first conversation that we typically have is Counselor 101, finding the right fit. We all know this. This is like basic elementary counseling, and helping students set realistic expectations and focus on finding a good fit institution versus the most prestigious 1% of universities in the world. And sometimes when we have that conversation, it goes very well. Kids come back, they kind of reconfigure and readjust. And then, your work or your potential work kind of decreases and your stress levels go down and cholesterol doesn't skyrocket anymore and all of that. So setting realistic expectations. And that's not just with, a student, it's also with parents, and also setting realistic expectations about a timeline. Like, hey, you only have like 3 weeks left until this application is due. I don't know if you're going to be able to complete a quality application. Is this something you're really willing to dedicate your time and energy to? All of that. So it's important that we set that expectation, have clear communication with them. That kind of leads into my second point is time management. When we're working with students during this really busy time, I know my caseload is super high, especially for a private school. Prioritizing your task and setting boundaries. So for me, I just want to go into what I do, and maybe this will help you. I block off time on my calendar. So we use a system called YouCanBookMe. And YouCanBookMe is wonderful because students can book appointments. Parents have to book an appointment with their student. So there's no double booking, maybe like the student's booking and then the parents booking separately. No, our policy is students and parents have to book together. Otherwise, the student can come on their own. So we don't have like an abundance or overflow of appointments, and our appointment calendar is not getting clogged up with redundancy or repetitiveness, right? So it's important for you to have good time management and set very clear expectations about your calendar. Also, another thing that we do on our calendar is set a time for like admin time. So like administrative work, things you need to catch up on, emails, completing tasks, all of these things are in your admin time. So it's an allocated time in your calendar for you to catch up instead of you doing all the catch up at like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 p.m. at night. No, you need to find time in your day to say, I'm going to close my door, or you're going to go hide somewhere in the school, like get out of your office and go somewhere else where nobody can find you for like 1 hour. And the only person that can find you is like, your principal or your division lead or somebody that you report to so they know where you're at in case of an emergency. But you really should set some boundaries and create that time management in your day so you're not having to take home a bunch of work at night. That's not fair to you at the end of the day. And that is not helping your well-being. That is not. I'm just going to be very honest with you. So setting boundaries, creating a schedule that allows you to work both your personal work and then counseling with students and parents. This will help you reduce stress and burnout as well. Number 3, let's talk about self-care. You need to make this a priority. I think I said in one of my most recent episodes is that I may not be able to do a weekly podcast because I need to prioritize my self-care. And so for me to say that, it was me telling all of you, this is what I need. And in order for me to show up on this podcast and bring my best self to you guys, I have to put me first. So whether that is an activity or just sleep or having breakfast on the weekends with your family or friends, getting out in nature, pursuing your hobbies, just doing whatever it is that fills your bucket. I encourage you to do that because you're probably telling your students to do this. You're probably telling parents to do this, but are you telling yourself? And I talk about this in my book as well. Like, you need to have that key element of self-care, because if you're not taking care of yourself, I mean, I'm going to shout this from the highest mountain. If you're not taking care of yourself, how can you possibly take care of other people? That is like the most hypocritical thing you can do. So you need to put yourself first always. If you're not putting yourself first, then none of this matters. Why are you even a counselor? Like, really, why are you even a counselor? I know that I had a personal issue pop up, like a medical concern, and I had to leave work in the middle of the workday to go to the doctor and take care of something. And I told myself, don't feel guilty. This is your health. Like, nobody else is going to look out for you. You need to take care of your health first. And I'm so glad I did, because it reduced my stress. I prioritized me, and I came back to work after that appointment. Like, I still had time in the day where I can come back. Everything was fine. People are understanding. That's the other thing. You need to make sure that people understand that you need to prioritize yourself, and communicating that to the right people to support you in that. Another nice thing is that our school has now implemented wellness days. So you can literally just say, hey, I'm going to take this day off, give an advance notice, and they're not going to ask questions, which I think is amazing, because we all just need a day to say, I just need a day. I just need a day. So whatever that looks like for you, you need to manage that. And I encourage you to find support in the school to support you to take care of yourself. Number 4, teamwork. It's important for you to collaborate with other counselors and school staff to share the workload and learn from each other for, best practices, advice, and, leaning on people. So don't put all of the responsibility on you to get all these things done. I know that the word counselor can be very muddied in different school settings, and you might be tasked with teaching, or also being a coordinator of a department, or you might also be tasked with other non-counseling related things. And so it's very important for you to literally make a list of things that are counseling specific related, and then things that can be pushed out onto other people that are non-counseling related. I know that we did this a few years ago, and this really helped us. For example, we realized the SAT coordinator role doesn't have to be in the counseling department. The AP coordinator role does not have to be in the counseling department. It was just the divisional principal that kind of wanted it there, but nowhere in any published information on the internet does it say that a counselor has to be these roles. It typically gets dumped on the counseling office because it's related to college and university, things like that. But it is not a requirement for these roles to be fulfilled by a counselor. So if this is something, for example, that is bogging you down and requiring a lot of time, PSAT coordinator, SAT coordinator, all these things, a teacher can take this on and they get paid for it. It's like a stipend role. It does not need to be in the counseling department. You can use different models, like the ISCA standards for, a counseling model. Like 80% of your day should be contact time with students, and the other 20 should be other tasks. So if you want to advocate for yourself, and delegate things to other people in your team or your division, this is a good way for you to write it down, see what is actually counseling related and what's not, and then share some roles and responsibilities, and also explain, to admin what you actually do, what you actually need to do in a day to be successful and support what it is that you're doing in the day. So, for example, like I said, if it's college application season, the bulk of your day should be consulting with students and families. And then the other 20% should be catching up on emails, maybe doing some, other tasks. I know I'm a comprehensive counselor at my school, so we sometimes have to do like schedule changes or random things like that. Send emails home about like DNF list, all these things that I'm sure you may not have to deal with, but it's important for you to understand that everybody needs to know what your role is. And if you can help, great. If there's time in your day and you can help support people do other things in the school, amazing. But for schools that are super busy, have high caseloads, that's not always the case. Number 5, Stay informed. So stay up to date on the latest college admission trends as well as mental health resources. I think this is important. A lot of times counselors just want to say, I'm a college counselor. That's all I do. I don't do well-being. I've heard that. I've actually heard counselors say, I don't do well-being. And I'm like, you can't say that. Like, you may not actually do that, like day to day, like, uh, check-ins and things like this, but students are stressed. Whether they're working on a college application or they have a test, they're gonna have stress. They're gonna feel overwhelmed. And you as a counselor, if you're just a college counselor, air quotes, you still need to have some, mental health resources to support the student, whether it's just you being abreast with, accurate information or just being equipped with basic well-being counseling skills. You need to have that. You cannot just say, I'm a college counselor and that's it. It doesn't work like that. So you need to stay informed, and having that knowledge is going to empower you and help you become a better counselor in your day-to-day practice. Number 6, effective communication. This is super important. Open and clear communication is super critical and crucial. Letting your students know that you're there to support them, letting the parents also know that you're there to support them, and encouraging, keyword, encouraging them to come and talk to you about their concerns and feelings. Again, sometimes students don't want to come to me because they see me as just a college counselor, even though I'm comprehensive, I do well-being. They don't want to come and open up about things. No, you need to come and tell me, because if you don't tell me, I can't help you. It's all connected. All of this well-being, college counseling, school, it's all interconnected. You can't just go and send somebody to someone else sometimes, especially when they're overwhelmed about college applications. This is why I have this course, Simplifying the College Application Process, because I don't want students to feel like this is this huge mountain they need to climb and it's super scary and they don't know how to climb it. I really try my best to break it down, baby steps, and really, really, really open their eyes to it being much easier than what they think. So that communication, breaking it down, also to the parents, they talk to each other. Kids talk to kids, parents talk to parents. It's very clear. WhatsApp groups, all that stuff. So if you tell one family, actually, it's not that hard, it's actually like this, that information is going to spread pretty quickly. It's also easy for you to send an email home and simplifying things and giving step-by-step guides and, all of that, all those resources. So clear, effective communication, but also clear, effective communication to who you work with. This is also key, because you need to tell them, hey, this is a really busy month ahead. I have these professional development. I have these amount of appointments already set, and I have limited availability to do XYZ extra. You need to also communicate to your boss or your line manager or the people that you're working with, so they don't try to put on extra things on your plate, especially during a very heavy college application period, October through December, essentially. That's kind of, I feel like, the bulk of it, because people try to finish everything before winter break. Next one, empathy. It's important to have empathy as a counselor. We know this, but not everybody displays it, unfortunately. So maybe I should make a podcast episode on developing empathy. I've been thinking about that. But it's important to understand the emotional toll that college applications can take on students. But you need to understand that although kids come to you last minute, or parents come to you last minute, or their plans change and they add this unnecessary stress to themselves, it does transfer to us, and we do need to check in with ourselves when these things arise, because I know I'm personally guilty of it. When somebody comes to me last minute and they need something and I genuinely don't have the time, it goes back to the other steps, like the boundaries, the communication, like, where have you been? I've been here all along. I've been telling you to come see me. I've emailed you 99 times. I can't feel 100% bad for you, but I can try to help you and give you some support with whatever time we have left. But just know that I can only give you so much at this point. And you can empathize and listen and be polite and understanding, but at the same time, you need to respect your boundaries and say, this is what I can give you at this point, in a professional way, of course. Here on this podcast, we could be a bit more open, but you know what I'm trying to say. So being patient, non-judgmental, and understanding they have worries and everything, but you can alleviate some of those worries by saying, I'll help you with XYZ, and this is the best I can do. Number 8, mental health resources. I kind of touched on this already, but you need to familiarize yourself with the mental health resources available to students within your school community, within the wider local community, whether it's workshops or support groups. Because again, your hours are set, right? You typically work school hours. The students have access to you during school hours. And then what resources are available to them after 4 or 5 p.m., from 4 to 5 p.m. till the evening, or even on the weekends. So you want to be able to give them resources in case you're not available. You need that break too from after school time. If you're not working, those are not your contractual hours. The weekend, you should not be working. You should not be working every day after work, and you should not be working every day on the weekend. This is honestly like gonna burn you out. And that's where your time management skills really need to level up. And that's something I help people with, but you have to be willing to be open to that process. So you need to be able to provide them extra resources so you can have that balance outside of work. Also, number 9, organize workshops. You can host workshops on well-being topics such as stress management, time management, how to write effective essays, helping students fill out the application. We personally at our school, we do something called lunch and learns where the kids can bring their lunch and learn on a specific topic. And we have targeted audience, whether it's just 12th graders or it's 9th through 12th grade. We do both well-being and college related topics. Again, it kind of goes back to that notion of I'm only a college counselor. No, you're not. No, you're not, because kids are going through a lot of ups and downs during this process. This process is very personal. It can feel very emotional, and you need to be there to support that part of the college application process. But again, this is going to help, I think, reduce the number of one-to-one appointments if you offer workshops. And then therefore, it will help reduce the stress in your life, in your day-to-day work. So if you can find time during the lunch break, or after school is a bit tricky, but during the day, I know that works more effectively for us because kids are there and they're not rushing off to the bus or sports or rehearsals or whatever it is. So you can offer a lunch and learn where kids come and actually learn something and work on applications, and you can answer questions kind of in a small group setting. And that can be a very effective way to reach more kids. All right, number 10, celebrate achievements. So you need to celebrate the success and achievements of both yourself and for your students. So if you are trying to improve your own personal time management and you're noticing that you're becoming less stressed and overwhelmed and you're not working so much on the weekends or after work, you need to celebrate that. You need to, go to those staff socials, which personally I choose not to do because I have certain boundaries with that. But that doesn't mean that I don't find other outlets to celebrate. I personally celebrate with friends or with family or other people in my life. So I choose to celebrate my achievements and my success in a different way. And also, it's important for you to celebrate the success of your students. We know this, but if there are areas in your professional life that you are trying to improve and you're giving yourself a 1-month period to trial something, or a quarter, like 3 months to trial something, then do that and then monitor your status and your progress. If you have a mentor or if you want to work with myself, I give you guys, goals to aim for, and you check in and see if you're achieving those. So again, I'm there to support your success as well. So I'm going to kind of skip over maintain boundaries because we've already talked about that. But again, it's essential for your own well-being to not reply to emails after work or messages outside of work hours. I know WhatsApp is right there on your phone. We're on our phones all day long. And if you have work WhatsApp groups like I do, put them on mute, archive them, try to, not look at them during, your personal time, because again, that just blurs everything. You don't disconnect. Also, you can pre-schedule emails. So if you want something to go out at a different time, but say you are working after work and you are working on the weekends, but you don't want people to know that, you can pre-schedule emails to go out 8 a.m. on a Monday or whatever time you want. So again, that's kind of maintaining boundaries so people don't think you're just 24/7 accessible. Number 12, you can seek support. So you can find people to help you. It could be a counselor, therapist, a mentor. It could be anybody, family, friends, to kind of express what you're going through, the overwhelm, feeling burnt out, needing a change of scenery. These people are there to support you. They're there to uplift you, and you really need to lean into that. I know that I talk to my dad every Sunday, and that's like a ritual, and I kind of tell him what's going on, but I don't really talk too much about work. I just kind of like give him an update. The week was busy, this and that, surface level. But I have other people that I kind of lean into when I really want some advice. So whether it's your boss at work that you trust, or a coworker, or somebody not even at your work, I want you to seek that support because they can give you really good advice on how to maintain your well-being. With all of this being said, step 13 or tip 13 is reflect and learn. Every year, I will be very honest with you, every year I'm always learning something new about myself when I'm helping students. I'm always slowly progressing to get better as a counselor. I know that I kind of have this veteran groove. I tell students, look, I'm not worried about you. You're going to find a home next year at a university or college. I'm not worried. And my affect and demeanor is very chilled, very relaxed. I'm not high strung. I'm not high stressed. I just lay out the facts. Here's the steps you need to do. You just got to sit down and work and do it right now. If there's a few extra minutes in your one-to-one meeting, I just literally make them get on the computer and do some work, and I'm just an arm reach away. So I'm doing things differently every year, but I feel like I'm always improving. So you need to reflect on, how do you counsel students? What are you doing? What's working? What's not working? Again, you can go through all of these tips. You can go through all of these steps and see if you're strong in some and there's areas of improvements, and that's how you grow. That's how you become a better, well-rounded counselor. So I know that this episode may feel a little long and lengthy, but remember that helping students through the college application process is a significant responsibility as a counselor, especially a college counselor, but it's an opportunity for you to be somebody to impact their lives. And I know that pulls on our heartstrings when our students are, going off to the next step of their life. And we know that we've been a part of that journey. And so in order for that to happen, you really need to take care of your own well-being so you can be in a better position to provide support and guidance that they need during this really exciting time. So thank you guys for listening to today's episode. I really hope that today encouraged you to do something different, to better yourself, to take care of yourself. And I hope that between now and the end of this year, we're only in October, end of October, that you try to implement some of these things. And if you do, please get in touch with me. I'm curious to know how this episode has helped you. Or, if you're looking, like I said, for more personalized support, get in touch with me and I'm more than happy to support you. So on that note, I'll catch you guys all on the next episode. Did you love the episode? I hope you're feeling inspired and no longer feeling alone out there, and you're ready to evolve and become a better person. Make sure that you share this podcast or take a screenshot and post it on your social media. That's how you help spread this podcast organically, and people can find it much easier when you share, or share it with a loved one. I'm your host, Katrina Marie, and make it your mission to be a blessing in someone else's life today.